everyone, and welcome back to Here Be Dragons. I am your host, Stephen Stark, and joining me this week, not either one of my regular co-hosts, but familiar faces on the channel here. We've got Emily, we've got Kelly. I will call you Kelly at the beginning. No telling what I'm going to call either one of you as the stream goes on. But yeah, hi everyone. Hello, Emily. Hello,
Hi.
Kelly.
Hello.
Welcome back.
Good to be back.
Today we're going to be talking about the Legend of Vox Machina. This was when I could fit it into the schedule based on what my other co-hosts were doing and their availability. I really would have preferred to do it after the whole show was over, but this is the week we had, so here we are. I rounded up two extremely nerdy D&D lovers to come talk all about it with me. But yeah, so here we are, the Legend of Vox Machina. I want to start with sort of like spoiler-free talk for anyone who has not seen it, who wants to get just an idea of what it is, and then we'll go from there into the more spoilery, talking about actual plot points and character development and all that. But I'll start with just overall impression. Well, first of all, how much do you know about it? And then impression of the show so far. And we'll start with Emily since you're right there.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Well, I've watched campaign 1, the original live play game. And I also have read the Vox Machina Origins graphic novels that are out so far. So I'm pretty immersed. I had high expectations going in, knowing how creatively involved the same people were, and there's nothing I could really complain about. It's been a delight so far, and I'm so psyched for the finale.
Right on. So, but you like it overall so far?
Yeah, absolutely. It's true to what it was while being really great for the format that they're in now. They can't have every joke from a 400-hour campaign crammed in there, but I feel like they're hitting the tone perfectly. The characters are really fun, and I feel like they're really true to what a D&D party is. I feel like everybody I know who was not familiar with it has been texting me, oh my gosh, I can totally see myself in this character. Hey, my D&D PC is totally a mix between Vexalia and Keyleth, or
right.
It definitely feels like it was based in a tabletop game, but is epic at the same time.
So, okay. Well, Kelly, were you a critter when the show started? Before the show?
Are you talking about Critical Role?
Yeah.
Okay. I honestly can't remember. I believe I started shortly before campaign 2. Just a heads up, I have not seen much of campaign 1. Okay. I've seen, I want to say probably 50% of campaign 2, but like Emily said, it's 300 hours of your life. So I see what I can. So going into this animated show, I didn't know anything about the characters, so it was just kind of spoiler free. So I'm kind of learning as we go along. I didn't fully finish watching the most recent episode, by the way. I think it's episode 9.
Maybe. You didn't finish episode 9?
Uh-oh.
No.
I just want to say I might be just a couple of minutes late, okay. But I had to stop and I had to take a shower before all of this. So yeah.
I guess I know you want to talk about what you've seen and haven't seen, Stephen, but for people who are listening who aren't that familiar, campaign 1 is Vox Machina. That's the group that you're seeing in the show. Campaign 2 is a completely different adventuring party set on a different continent in the same world. And Critical Role has recently, within the last couple of months here, started their 3rd campaign. Again, a completely separate adventuring party. So Kelly, like you're saying, you haven't seen this party. You haven't seen Vox Machina really in action before.
Right. I had seen Vox Machina comic books on the shelves, so I kind of had a feeling something like this was coming. But yeah, so I didn't want to start buying any issues yet.
Mm-hmm.
Wanted to see how it goes, but yeah, I love it. And I have updated my Spotify playlist as well with some
nice.
Scanlan
Some
jams.
Scanlan jams.
Yeah.
Scanlan's got a few jams.
Oh yeah.
So I was not a critter. I was very aware of the show, but it is the watching somebody else play D&D format is not for me. You know, like it's very hard for me to commit that sort of time, especially since I have a show where I talk about pop culture nerdy stuff. There is so much to watch, but I have always had massive respect for the people who are on there as individual voice actors, and also especially what they have done for this hobby.
It cannot be understated.
It cannot.
No.
They are.
Yeah.
I would say they are single-handedly responsible for the rise of the modern D&D craze. I mean, a lot of people also jumped on along the way and then helped push it forward. And, you know, I've done my little part of that. Emily, you've done your part of that as well, where we're like, come play with us. And we drag people in. But without Critical Role, D&D does not exist in the form that it does today.
Yeah, it's really exploded from like it's funny, there are memes out there, but Liam O'Brien, who plays Vaxeldon, the rogue, this all started from just him wanting to play D&D on his birthday. And so this group of people got together and started playing, and then it blossomed into their relationship with Felicia Day, getting them streaming, and now like Amazon's producing this amazing series, and it's just the snowball effect. And I couldn't be happier because it's something I think we're all passionate about, obviously. And I think now that this show is out there, everyone who's been saying, I really want to get into Critical Role, but like I don't have that kind of time, I don't have that kind of focus, like this is a much more accessible way to see this amazing rich storytelling, the brutality of it, the emotion of it, the humor of D&D, all kind of there on your screen in a way that I don't think other media has captured that well before.
Yeah, this is the most D&D show I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as you say, it started with a guy who wanted to play D&D on his birthday, and it's grown into a multi-million-dollar media mini empire.
Yep.
With merch and, as you say, comic books, and now an animated show, and like they have changed the zeitgeist of the game in general. And it's amazing that this all came from, hey, we want to make a 30-minute animated show, one single 30-minute animated short about our D&D game. Can you help us raise $50,000? And their fans are like, we can do a little better than that. And I believe
record setting.
Yeah,
record setting.
$12 million, I think.
Oh, so much.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure, but it's somewhere in the $12 to $14 million range.
That does not surprise me at all.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and then that of course gets Amazon's attention, and I think that it like I said before, it's so great to see the original creators like fully in the driver's seat of where this is going, because when you get a big studio behind something, I feel like those of us in the fandom are sometimes like, okay. Yeah. and it's really been great. I mean, like Sam Riegel, who plays Scanlan, he did the casting. Matt Mercer and the whole group was really involved in writing it. You can feel kind of the love that went into it in a really authentic way.
Yeah, totally. It's really, really well done top to bottom. They spent their money smartly. Their animation looks great. It is not the slickest you're ever going to see, let's be honest, but it does the job very well. And animation is extremely expensive.
Mhm.
So they spent their money smartly, I think.
Yes.
Jess says that she thinks she's seen more Critical Role outtakes than Entitled Chapter. I am the same way. I have not watched the show. I have watched moments, and there have been, a couple of them that I really loved. Like, I know about Archon. I know, the end of that story. I know about, we're gods. We're gods. I've seen those.
Golden gods.
But I haven't
Rip.
watched the show. So this story was the characters were wholly new to me. Because I didn't even have context when I did see outtakes or clips or whatever. So yeah, completely new. Emily, you kind of knew a lot, or you basically know everything that's about to happen, at least theoretically. You know the source material well.
I mean, yeah, exactly. Like they've changed things, they've streamlined some things, but it's very true to the story. And I think like the way that they're kind of adding little things that they had to cut for time in flashbacks or whatnot is really great too. Little love notes to the old fans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and Kelly, you have maybe a little bit more knowledge about it than I do. Maybe you're slightly more familiar with the characters or the people that play them than I was. But yeah, this show is about a group of D&D adventurers. It is not meta at all, the way the old 1980s cartoon was. It was that old cartoon from the 1980s was kids from our world were teleported into a world and they were in Dungeons and Dragons. There's no sort of table talk in the show. It is purely the narrative of what is happening to the characters in the story.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
Which great, because combat takes a long time. Rolling dice and looking at charts takes a long time, and there's sometimes there's table talk, and sometimes there's looking up things in books, and a lot of that is just stuff you don't need. So that they get to just cherry pick the good parts and put them in a 25-minute show, and it feels exactly like D&D. It has the violence, it has the ridiculousness, it has the funny, banter between characters.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you want a show like that where you're seeing some of the actual tabletop action, like there's Harmon Quest, there's other things out there that are doing that blending of animation and actual play, but this is just a story, and you can tell it's D&D because when they show up to a very important meeting, they're all extremely hungover instead of taking that long rest, or they're having that critical conversation and decide to play, what is it, like ball tag, right?
Right.
Getting a little spoilery to say that, sorry.
Major character beats, okay? Major character beats.
But I mean, that stuff feels like, when you're watching, I don't know, if you're watching like Game of Thrones or something like that, like you're not seeing your heroes go out and do that kind of stuff. And so to me, that feels so D&D to see them not be perfect, to say the wrong thing in an important setting, or to goof around. And I love that about the show. It's one of my favorite things.
I'd like to touch on something that what Carl just said as far as comedy improv, and what Dan from Voice of Geekdom had posted, talking about how if you watch Critical Role, maybe if you're a first time player, you might be a little disappointed in your own at home sessions. The thing is with with Vox Machina, particularly the show, you have all of the wonderful moments compressed, like absolutely jammed into this 20 to 30 minute show. And the thing is, if you want to play, you can play. You don't have to be a brilliant at improvisation or doing funny voices, or just pretending to be someone else. Just give it a try. But when it comes to as far as like addressing disappointment in your in your own DM, it's like, I don't know what to tell you. That sounds like a you problem.
Yeah, I mean, as someone who plays on both sides of the DM screen, I think like, and even what Matt Mercer says, like, because I think he knows about this. There's this whole thing about the Matt Mercer effect of kind of raising your standards too high for your own DM. But okay, you bring it like Sam Riegel, you bring it like these characters, and I will bring it like Matt Mercer. I mean, we're just
There you
friends
go.
hanging out together around a table, and he also says like he may not be the best DM for your group. And that's okay. Other groups want different things. So I think it's just really great.
Yeah, if you want to play with Matt Mercer, I think step one is, or if you want to play with a Matt Mercer type DM, step one, become a professional voice actor. And then we'll talk about step two. What happens. Like,
or just start by like, learning your full character sheet and like not jumping out of
But
sorry,
yeah,
we've had this episode before.
It's a really good question, though.
It is,
Dan, because I do not consider myself I'm not the best dungeon master that I know. Okay, I know better ones. I like to think I'm good at what I do. And Emily, you don't play with me. Oh yeah, you do. You do now. We have a pretty wild. You're in my chaos crew. But like every person is different. My DMing style is not like Matt Mercer's at all. Although I like to think I'm good at what I do. Every dungeon master is different. And Matt Mercer, look, Critical Role took off because, in part, how good his storytelling skills are.
But now it's Matt Mercer's job 40 hours a week to make that story really amazing. And I promise you, as a DM, I don't have that kind of time. Steven doesn't have that kind of time. Your DM probably doesn't have that kind of time. And that's okay. Like, that doesn't make it what you're doing bad D&D. I think all that matters is that you get around the table and you have fun telling a story with your friends.
Yeah, rule number one of D&D, if you're having fun, you're doing it right.
Yep.
Sean dropping.
I'm loving the chat right now.
Yeah, it's great.
Oh, Sean, I'm so glad you're here.
People say that they are all professionally good-looking, outgoing, trained entertainers rather than just your homies. Yeah, that's true.
We can't help it.
Right, they can't help what they look like.
Sorry.
And
no, I was talking about us.
Yeah, and the thing is, look, that is like watching a professional basketball game between two NBA teams and then expecting to go out to your pickup game at the park and play against that caliber of person.
Yeah.
These are professionals who have spent a lot of time honing their voice acting craft. They are creatives naturally, so their improv skills are good. Their writing skills are good. Like, you cannot have, it's an unrealistic expectation, I guess, is what I'm really trying to say.
You're not going to have the same amazing moments that you see within these games, whether it's D&D or basketball. You're going to make your own moments.
Yeah, that's a perfect way of putting it.
That's kind of one of my responses is that it's not going to be as good as Matt Mercer, but at moments it's going to be way better because
yeah, and you're also sitting around people that you hopefully you like and so yeah, those moments. I play in 2 campaigns with my coworkers. Oh, we crack some D&D jokes at each other at work, and it is awesome. And it's those amazing moments.
Yeah. Like I say, I feel like it may not be as good as Critical Role, but there will be times when it's better because it's you and your friends and the narrative that you built along the way. But let's talk about the narrative that they built along the way. This show follows 7 primary characters of various fantasy races. Actually, there's not a huge amount of variation. There's 3 half-elves and 2 gnomes in the party. A Goliath, which is sort of like a giant-esque humanoid creature.
Too safe. Too safe.
And a human. Although he's probably variant human because variant human's really good in D&D.
Probably. Yeah. I mean, I love that they played the characters that they wanted to play though, and didn't think, like, oh, they weren't thinking about making the show and needing that kind of diversity. I think I do think that Critical Role tries really hard in general as an organization and as a creative entity to have a ton of diversity and inclusion. Like for me, like it's just so cool to see Vax out there, like an extremely openly bisexual character on screen.
Yes.
Like you don't see that in something that's getting the kind of attention that the show is very often, and it's in this genre. It's not that harkening back to the old school D&D of like, oh, a woman in the party. Like we are way beyond that with Critical Role.
Thank God. I remember D&D in high school where like we would go to the civic center once a month. They had a D&D night. Can somebody take care of that in the chat, please?
Yeah.
Thank you. And there'd be, I don't know, 40 people there, and maybe 1 or 2 of them were women. It's 50-50 these days because it's accessible to all. It's much more inclusive. If you're watching the show, you will see lots of different body types and ethnicities on screen in the animation, which is also really great.
And for the most part, I think that they tried to work with voice actors who, aligned with the folks that they were playing. Like I know it was a big deal for people who are a fan of the original campaign. Like Gilmore from Gilmore's Glorious Goods is like one of the most beloved NPCs, and some people really had a hard time thinking like, oh gosh, Matt Mercer, this, like, I just associate this with him so much. But the actor who they hired to play Gilmore is absolutely crushing it, and I love the spin on it. I love. There's so many big names in this. Like I could spend a long time just talking about the people who they hired to voice different parts, but I will restrict myself to that.
Yeah, but the lack of sort of diversity in the D&D races represented is fine. I tell everybody, play the character you want. You want to play half elf? Play half elf. If 3 people come to the table wanting to play half elves, that's what you should do. And that's how this started. I want to play D&D for my birthday. These are the characters that got brought. And I think they actually started with Pathfinder and then switched to D&D 5th edition when it came out. About the time they started streaming it.
Yeah, I know they jumped systems. I know they landed on 5th edition, but I don't remember the timeline of all that.
Well, again, I'm just going off of, I've read stuff and heard stuff over the past couple of weeks, and I'm just this is what is stuck in my brain anyway. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so I've said all I can say. You should watch the show unless you are a child, and don't watch it with your children around. It is not for...
Not okay.
Not
R-rated.
You have to be at least 16 years old to watch this show, unless you are already sort of in Here Be Dragons. Then I'll allow it if you're 15.
Yeah, I think...
You know who I'm talking about out there. You know.
Yeah, I mean, they don't waste time cutting right to it. I think right in the beginning, like you're getting like, extreme violence, nudity, swearing, horror, like I'm talking first 5 minutes of episode 1 covers like all of that.
The prologue. The prologue has a person getting crushed to death, another person getting cut into pieces and his face falling on somebody else's face. Somebody getting smashed with a dragon tail, another person getting lightning electrocuted into ashes. It's pretty brutal from get-go.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna let that stay there for a second.
Yeah.
That's you. Anyway.
Gosh, I just want to know who your favorite characters are.
It's a tough call for me right now. I'm rocking Percy right now just because he's had the most time to shine, but a big part of me is just totally loves Pickle. I love her.
Yeah, she's adorable. I'm glad that they so not to like always go back to talk about the main show, but Ashley Johnson, who voices her, had to kind of be in and out because of her own broadcast schedule, and like she'd just kind of disappear and then show back up. And I think the way they're handling that in the show and giving that like real narrative purpose, that speaks to me as a DM. I don't really like characters just like teleporting away and popping back in if I can avoid it. I want it to have a narrative reason why this is happening. And I love the story that they're telling with Pike.
Yeah.
Not at all my favorite character though.
Yeah, I knew in season 2 Ashley was only there periodically, so her character would make an appearance periodically, and I kind of saw that happening with this season, so I just kind of assumed, okay, she's got a life, she's got things going on, and they're, that's a part of the story.
Yeah.
And that's a great way to do it.
I've heard that anytime that Pike's not there, it's because she's hiding in your blind spot.
Oh, is that a small person joke?
No.
Okay.
Isn't that the name of the show she was working on when she was gone a lot of the time? Was Blind Spot?
Okay.
Yes.
I'd rather be a small person joke.
I think can I be spoilery about the content of the show at this point or no?
Yeah, okay. So yeah, full spoilers.
Warning. Yeah,
okay.
Everyone.
If you haven't watched and want no more, like, leave now or forever hold your peace. Emily, go.
Don't
okay, yeah. So I think what they're doing with Pike is something that I think comes up for real clerics in D&D games all the time. Of like, I'm a cleric. I'm a holy person. I've sworn my life to this god and some kind of faith, even if it's not a lawful good god. And I'm here hanging out with a bunch of arguably murder hobos. And I'm trying to.
The murder hobos. The murder hobos have been murdered.
Oh, that's right. The murder hobos have been murdered in this universe. But, for lack of a better term, I'm hanging out with some like morally questionable people, or we're just doing a lot of killing. And like, I feel weird about that. And so seeing that challenge for Pike and seeing her kind of wrestle with that and learn a path forward where she can be a holy woman, but also, care about her friends and be aligned with them is
and drink and
wonderful.
curse and stuff.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. I gotta agree with you though, Stephen. I think Percy is probably my favorite. I'm a big Vex'ahlia fan. I know that she is not extremely likable, but I love her. I think I'm that person in the party a lot of the times who's like, snapping at people like, let's be grown-ups and not screw up.
Whereas I'm Vex in the party most of the time.
Yes, I'm sorry. Did I say Vax? I meant Vex. The female.
I think you said Vex. You said Vex.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm Vax then.
There we go. Okay.
Yeah. See, I get them confused still. I definitely understand their personalities, but Vaxildad and Vex'ahlia. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, my current character that I'm playing in your group is Hecate is definitely a little bit of Vex'ahlia for sure. But I mean, they're all great. I mean, I don't tend to play characters like Grog or Scanlan who are more comedic relief, who are more silly, or in general, I'm just not a big barbarian person. But I don't think they're overdoing it. I don't think they're underdoing it. I think I love those characters, and they're my husband's favorites. Like, he loves them.
Yep. What about you, Kelly? Who's your favorite?
Oh, Scanlan. I love Sam anyway, but yeah, Scanlan. Oh my god. I like Emily. Like, I'm not. I don't like. I'm not comfortable being a barbarian or I guess a frontline fighter. But Scanlan, I had played a halfling rogue, and I was like, man, this is the personality I should have rolled with. Dang it. But yeah, Scanlan definitely. Just being kind of a just being the legit distraction. in the party. Like, all right, I got you. And just, rocks out some raunchy song. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Open the back door, baby. Open the hinges, I'll show you my key.
I just love, like, I'm 69 inches of freak. Or no, 69 feet of freak, yeah.
He's great. And I think he really finally got like his big moment in this week's batch of episodes. I think it was maybe the first one where he did, like you said, he went off on his own, and of course Vex, who I love, is like, okay, good luck with that.
There's
don't
so many
don't
moments.
split the party.
Yeah. This whole
so
like
good.
Yeah, this last batch, there's so many moments. I can't even, like, my brain won't even settle on one moment between, like, Scanlan and all the guards. I'm sorry, I can't remember Rory McCann's character, but that whole exchange was absolutely hilarious.
Yep, yeah, where he comes in the window. I was getting, some Tywin Lannister flashbacks for a second there in the bathroom.
Is it Anders? Is that his name? No.
Vedmeyer. He's Count Vedmeyer.
Yeah, Duke.
Duke Vedmeyer. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. I swear I've seen Campaign 1, guys. I just didn't. Yeah, I thought that was great. I think, like the dick lightning in the most clutch moment.
Yeah. I love that when, as he was trying the different potions, and when he did like breathe fire, it came out more or less like vomit. I couldn't stop laughing. I was laughing so hard at that. It was just such a great moment. Just like the expression on his face, just the way the animation was. It wasn't that he was breathing fire. He was just vomiting.
He was puking fire. Yeah.
I have 2 characters with that spell, and I'm like, do I still want this?
Yes. The answer is yes.
Both of them are very dainty people, so I think the answer is yes. Yeah. So good. So good. Scanlan's hand is so great. I think, for us D&D players, you can see spells that are familiar to you, but you can also see that the intellectual property has been stripped away. It's Scanlan's hand. It's, I don't know if that's exactly how like the blink spell works when he took that other potion.
Yeah. They definitely have scratched the serial numbers off of certain things.
Yeah, I will also say in the most recent episode, I don't think that clerics and druids are necessarily quite as OP as sometimes like the animation makes them look. But like for storytelling purposes, I don't care. Sure, like turn undead that much, whatever. It's cool to watch.
Those earlier episodes, I was like, what level are they at in this, in this scenario, in this situation? What's going on? Like, when it came to like some of those more clutch moments, even in the beginning, it was like, how powerful are they? But yeah, like you were saying, when it comes to storytelling, just roll with it. Yeah. As Grog is killing and counting his kills, he's like 3, 11, all the letters.
Yeah, that line was so great. Like, I didn't mention Grog earlier. We were talking about favorites, and I can't pick half the party as my favorite. But like, there is something about Grog and Pike together that is just magical. It is just the perfect thing.
Well, and like I think when you know their backstory too, which I think they'll get to more as the series develops, like that'll just touch your heart even more. One of my favorite Grog moments was when they catch back up with Scanlan, and he's like giving the recap to Scanlan about what happened, and he's like, I shot a tongue in the face, and like, I got arrowed a bunch, I ripped something in half. Like, it's just his summary of events is so hilarious and very incomplete, like very Grog centered.
I did love that moment with Percy though, when he, shot a tongue in the face, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
That was so great. Yeah, that
I had 2 voices in my throat. Yes, Kate. Yes.
Thank you. Oh, so good.
Brandon, been a while.
We've been talking so much about the new episodes, and we didn't even talk about that we got to see a blue dragon. I don't know how many of you have like seen a lightning dragon depicted in very frequently. That was cool for me to see.
I think that's when I was like, wait, what level are they again? Because it seemed like the blue dragon was happening kind of early too.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, there'll be more.
Yeah, I'm like, he had the Tiamat rug on the floor. So I'm not surprised that we'll get more dragons.
Yeah, they've already renewed for season 2. So,
yeah.
So were you guys expecting this much horror out of a D&D show? Because I feel like that this arc is the most horror-centric of campaign 1 in general. And I some people said they didn't expect that much. So
it's D&D. Horror elements have been part of D&D from the very beginning. Mm-hmm. Like, I think the first monster ever fought in D&D was an orc, but it wasn't long before skeletons and zombies and ghouls and that type of thing started making its way in. It's an old standby, so yeah. And the thing is, they do it really well. They, I believe in the original campaign, they get attacked by invisible stalkers, which sort of they remade into those ghostly things that attack them in their keep, which is, again, like, you can only go so far with actual D&D IP.
Was I usually don't go in for that stuff, but oh my god, that was intense.
It was terrifying.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like Emily and her puppies. Oh, they can say hi.
I'm sorry. Yeah, they're going nuts because I think my husband just left for work. So,
Sanri.
Hey, Sanri.
Oh my goodness. I love everything about it. I think they for this arc, they have hit all the important stuff for me. I think some of the things that they stripped out or streamlined made sense. Like they don't need to go clear their name for the king. They'll kind of just shorten that back up. They'll get on with things and head to Whitestone. And
yeah. So Brandon asks, so what's up with the smoke? I have theories. Okay. I do not know.
As do I. And now Emily's like,
nothing.
What smoke? Okay. Are you ready for my theory?
Yeah.
He's just multi-classed into Warlock. Duh. And,
I'm watching Emily's face very closely.
Yeah. To me, that's like, but like, it's the deep, that's what I do. I master the dungeon and I know things. So like my DM brain just goes, if I wanted to create that as an NPC, how would I do that? Several levels of fighter, a few levels of Warlock. And yeah, and like, because a Warlock always comes with the pact, and his pact is probably, I'll give you the gun, I'll give you the knowledge to make the gun and the ability to take out these 5 people, but that also means that there is something that he's going to want Percy to do in the future, and maybe even the completion of this quest is the type of thing that will move him emotionally to the place where he could do that. We would have less moral compunctions because of the lines he's crossed along the way to get there. That's what I think is going on. What is it exactly? I don't know, because it's Matt Mercer's homebrew world. I don't know his cosmology. Like the only sort of like gods names I know are the Dawn Father, the Everlight, and the Whispered One. And maybe it's the Whispered One. Maybe it would be cool if it was.
Yeah, I think Matt like blends existing pantheon like with his own kind of interpretation or names for it. So like some of the figures, I think like you might actually recognize later on when it's revealed who they are. I don't want to comment on your theory at all. I think I think it's something that's going to be addressed by the end of the season, or certainly like into the next season. I think it takes a lot longer in the campaign, but the way that the last episodes ended, I don't know how quickly they'll kind of resolve it or give you an answer. But
Carl, play with us.
Yeah, Carl, if you wanted to play D&D, like, believe me, it's out there. Our group on our Slack plays. Okay, I play once every 2 weeks for each game I'm in, but I'm in 5 different games, so I play 2.5 times a week basically.
Damn.
So I'm
I gotta get
DMing.
one more. I'm
I
in 4
played
so far.
earlier today with Jolie as my DM.
Mm-hmm.
I'm playing tomorrow with Nessie, my regular co-host, where I'm the DM, and then I'm also playing Wednesday with Emily and Sandry, who's in the chat, will be there, as well as ridiculous Ed Tollett, and Sandry's
Also in the
brother.
chat. Yep.
So yeah, it's there's if you want to try, it's just hit me up, or Emily. Emily runs a lot of games too.
I run a lot of games too. I run a lot of like more Adventure League style stuff as well, like running some Tomb of Horrors campaigns right now. Just traumatizing my friends
in a good
Because
way.
you love them.
out of love. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. There was a moment yesterday where they were like, we have to slide. They had to slide blades into a slotted door to get it to open in this lich dungeon. And one of the characters goes, "I can't figure it out. I slide the only note I have left from my my parents who left me at an orphanage into the slot. Does that do anything?" And I'm like,
Oh my
you gotta
God.
roll. I go roll a dexterity saving throw to see if you can pull it out. Okay. Just for a little extra trauma, Anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about, though. I love the villains. I love that they've kind of set up, episodic villains. They've set up long-term villains.
I also really appreciate that they gave us some backstory for the big bads of the season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You don't get to see that when you play D&D. Like, I mean, Steven or I as DMs or Kelly, I don't know if you DM, I think maybe, you go off and you're like, okay, what's the bad guy doing while the party's off doing their thing? But that doesn't get shown very often. That's kind of a behind the curtain thing. And it's cool in this format that you're able to understand their motivations a little bit more.
I do not DM. Perhaps one day. I like creating stories and more or less, making up funny voices and characters. But in my Monday night campaign, the DM had us roll up kind of secondary characters as bad guys. So we kind of got a little bit of behind the scenes. Like if someone can't make it that particular week, we can use our bad guy characters to kind of see what's going on maybe on the other side of this world that is affecting us and our story. But yeah, I thought that was a cool little way to give us a little bit of insight on what's happening behind the curtain.
That is a neat idea. I might do that sometime, have everybody roll the bet, like the henchman of the big bad.
Exactly. That's what, yeah.
Yeah, that's a neat idea.
Mm-hmm. Carl, you can be a pirate. Yes.
That's the thing about D&D. You can be like almost anything.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Sasuke.
Yeah, Sasha's over there like, you can't play with us. And like, it's good. Like, Jolie runs a lot of games too. The 2 games that I'm a player in, Jolie is my dungeon master. And then she plays in one of the games where I'm the dungeon master.
That's nice to give the forever DMs a break.
Well, and the thing is, it's really nice because there is this idea of the forever DM, and I don't have to do that anymore. A lot of us have fallen into that. Oh, we really like what you do as the dungeon master. That's great, but I like being a player too.
Yeah.
I wonder if Matt Mercer ever gets that.
Yeah, I mean, so they did a recent kind of break between campaigns 2 and 3 and had a guest DM came in, and Matt played the most ridiculous himbo dwarf character of all time. He was instantly my favorite PC. I already loved dwarves so much, but it was delightful to see him like be a dumbass and like really ham it up in ways that you don't get to do as a DM, or you have to be kind of serious. I mean, also like no one takes delight in their own crit fails the way that a DM does, because it's just fun, I think, to role play that kind of stuff. And so it's great to see Matt living his best player life for a minute there.
I'm here for it. Yeah, I played a half orc himbo last year for a little short one, and it was a lot of fun. Another thing I really appreciate is that you brought up nat ones. You get to see the nat ones in this show. Like occasionally they're going to try something and the dice are like, nope. The trying to infiltrate the castle from two sides really comes to mind. Where what is it? It's Scanlan, Vax, and Percy trying to go in the back.
Trying to get
in that door.
Yeah. Wow.
Is there anything that's a truer enemy to a D&D party than a door, though?
Was that like an epic episode in the first season of Critical Role?
They definitely had door issues, and I think they had like chair issues in campaign 2 or something. I can't remember, but yeah, that definitely it may not have specifically been a campaign 1 thing, but it's definitely a thing. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I also loved like the time when they're planning, like what are we gonna do, and each of them is like, my plan is that I'm the star and I do everything in a very class specific way, and that is so what like planning before going into a planned encounter is like. And just like Vexalia said, it all goes to shit like instantly anyway. So let's just try to do the thing.
Yeah, no plan survives first contact with the enemy.
No, but it was great to see that. Like that stuff was like, yep, this is a D&D show. Like,
yeah, but like specifically, Vax can't pick the lock. Scanlan can't use knock or whatever it was he using. I know it's Scanlan's foot, but it's probably the knock spell in D&D. And then Percy rolls a 1 and falls out of the window.
Yeah,
it just was like, it was so funny, and I really appreciate that they keep that in there, because that is part of the feel of the game. Is not everything you do is going to work out. It's paced really well. Like, do you feel like Scanlan drinks a potion and you can almost count out 60 seconds before that effect ends?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like and their fights are over generally pretty quickly. There's a little bit of dramatic pause for, grandstanding and whatnot, but
yeah.
But D&D is combats are fast paced, not in real life, but like when you do a combat in D&D, honestly, less than a minute usually passes in game time before the whole thing's over.
Yep. Yeah, I think, probably the biggest difference for me between like a D&D game and seeing this is that some of the story beats, some of the dialogue that's like happening in combat, like, it's not that cinematic in D&D. No one is wasting their action to be like, I'm in love with you, or like, like things some like that. My husband was like ranting at Percy, like at certain points when like he was, either he was wrapped up in the drama of being back and having probably some PTSD type reaction to everything, instead of just like, shooting the guy instantly. But I think, those are things that I wish that players would take back to their table of like, remember how scary or like how real the characters felt in that action. And you're not a combat robot who is going to efficiently use those 6 seconds every time. Like you're gonna sometimes screw up and just move on. Poor and you're Vex. Sometimes not going to choose the right thing to do in the moment, and you're going to move on. And I love seeing our heroes like kind of be okay with that and embody that, both through more obvious crit fail situations and then also sometimes just what their character would do not being optimized.
Yeah.
I think I don't know if it was D&D Beyond or my D&D. It was a Facebook page that I follow. They had posted, "What does D&D stand for? Wrong answers only." And the comments were spectacular. There was dice rolls and despair, and like what we were just talking about, doorways and dummies.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think D&D stands for the Society for Bad Acronyms.
Now that N is a part of it, the letter N.
Yeah, DND.
Yep. That's my autocorrect. That's how it comes up. So that's what you get.
Anyway,
you gotta sing it.
You gotta sing it. Actually, I think Draconic is read from like above to below. It's probably like a 3D language written. So God, I love this show so much. I keep wondering what I need to talk about first. I kind of want to go all the way back to the beginning and talk about just the way they introduced these characters, because they did a really great job of letting us know who they were, giving us a little bit of their personality. Grog, big smashy guy. Pike, his sort of conscious. Remember, we don't waste time on talking assholes. Keyleth, not very, sure of herself, but extremely powerful when the moment comes. Vex and Vax, easily twins, and got each other's back, but have a bit of a rivalry. And then you got Percy. I guess maybe it doesn't do the best job of introducing Percy, but that's because they knew they were going to get a lot of sort of Percy-centric stuff in episode 3.
Mm-hmm.
But you still get the gun shoved in whatever the assassins, whatever the name of the guy is that they cut his hand off. So again, it's a tight storytelling. They're all out. They're drunk. They get into a bar brawl. They're the type of people who get into a bar brawl. Where's Scanlan? It's probably best if you don't ask. So we do get all of that, and it's only a couple of minutes, and it tells us it's going to be violent. There's going to be gross stuff. Oh my gosh, are those animated blue boobs? Lots of cursing.
Gnome testicles.
Gnome scrotum. It's
Hi, Christine.
Hi, Christine. You came in just in time to hear gnome scrotum.
I mean, why else would you show up?
Right.
Jolie,
like,
right on with
your own pickle. Are you offering to give me a hand? Yeah. I mean, no, wait, what?
Oh, I felt bad for that bartender.
I did too.
Yeah, that was so perfect. And that's, I mean, like, that's very much Vox Machina too. Like, I mean, I think they become epic heroes by the end, and they certainly aren't as much of a mess as like Campaign 2's characters, but they definitely do drink and carouse and have a good time, and they're kind of that quintessential group of D&D characters that meet, I love that the first time we saw them was in a tavern, because, that's how it should be. If you want to know more about like the origins of all these characters, I know that they're putting out like Vox Machina origins specific graphic novels or comics for each of the characters. So like I don't know, like Percy's a solo, Vex and Vax are obviously one thing. Pike and Grog have been together for a long time, so their stories intermingle. So if you care about that kind of stuff and you want to get more than the very succinct but very awesome intro that Stephen mentioned, it's out there too, and I'd recommend it.
They're in the booty.
They are in the booty.
I think one of my favorite Grogisms was like, well, Vex said that I had dick for brains, which doesn't seem very possible.
Yeah, Grog is like, what a beautifully realized character he is. I get, you know what? We'll just talk about Grog specifically for a minute, okay?
Okay.
I love that he is the gentle giant until he's not gentle, and then he is the least gentle anything.
Just ripping monsters in half.
Yeah, like in this last episode, he kills an undead giant by jumping on its head and just keeps chopping and chopping and chopping until he chops his way all the way through it. When
Yep.
they're trading stories about the big, the toughest kills they ever made, he rips some giant monster's tongue out by biting the tongue and tearing it out with his teeth. And
Yep.
he would like to rage. By the way, I died when he said I would like to rage, and well, he really screamed it, and then the animation on him running, where he's like steps and he goes 40 feet before his foot hits the ground again,
and then all of a sudden he's like on the banister, like.
Yeah.
My another favorite grogism was when they're in the underground and they're hiding out and he's looking for ale and it's all empty and he's like getting like more and more aggressive. He's like, I will kill fucking everything. Just because they're out of beer.
Yeah. Or this one. What is this hell? When all the barrels are empty.
Yes, exactly.
I do not want to see Grog sad. Like, I just don't. Grog must be protected.
The thing is, like, he's not overly violent by his nature. Even though he does say he kind of wants to kill everyone, like, no, he doesn't want to kill everyone.
Mm-hmm.
But he is definitely an id creature. He is not driven by higher thoughts and self-actualization and, trying to be the best version of himself that he can. No, I like to drink. I like to eat. I like to bang. I like pike.
Mm-hmm.
I tolerate the rest of you. And that's good enough for him, which is great character and really well realized by
Travis.
Travis
Willingham.
Travis Willingham.
Right.
CEO of Critical Role.
Okay, there you go.
Not as dumb as he appears on TV.
I do believe that softness is definitely an aspect of Travis.
Mm-hmm. But like, this character was created by Travis and embodied by Travis for years. Matt had a lot to do with the journey of that character by presenting the situations, but it was Travis who made all the choices as to what this character would do. And that's what makes it, I don't know, that's what makes the game such a beautiful interaction of that cooperative storytelling. Because Grog could be annoying or boring or any of those other things, and instead he's just so much fun and so sweet.
Exactly.
Anyway,
if I ever play, a character that's, that ditzy, like, I hope I can make it as fun and, sincere and lovable as that. Like, I did give one a go. Steven, you were there for that one shot. I just kind of had for Jolie's one shot for the Wolf of Aradel. I tried to play like a Zoolander type character. I don't think I pulled it off very well. Yeah, you were.
I don't remember it.
We helped Jolie finesse her one shot for the Wolf of Aradel.
Oh, okay.
Gosh, Steven. Gosh.
I barely remember it.
Fine. I'm out.
I think that's the only D&D I've ever actually played with you. Nope.
You were there very briefly for Jolie's Horde of the Dragon Queen.
Yeah, before I had to change. And we also have played together IRL, where you helped save Santa Claus.
Right. Yeah, gotta save Santa. I was also like a kind of a stand-in for a certain female ranger.
Yeah, we have played together a little bit,
yes,
but we haven't played together like extended campaign type.
Right. Yeah.
Yet.
Yeah, I do want to play kind of like a ditzy character like that.
I would love to see like the dumbass crew come together. Give me Grog, give me my character Thud No Neck that I played in Jolie's horror one shot, and you can play a ditzy character. It'll be so much fun to just be a bunch of dummies.
Yeah, please do not give us any riddles. Oh gosh.
No. Well, one very fun thing that Critical Role did was they did like kind of a battle royale between like half of Vox Machina and half of the Mighty Nine, which is their campaign 2 characters. So if you want a taste of what the live play is like without 400 hours, that would be something fun, and you may get a little bit of kind of what you're looking for there.
Yes, they dyed my legs purple. I
You
didn't care.
You walked into a pool of ink.
Well, we had figured out, how to get across it without doing that, but we opted to just have her do it anyway. Again, not my character, so I didn't really care that much. But yeah, it was a way to get someone back. And it was just like, it's just ink. It's fine. It looks like she's wearing purple thigh highs. It's hot. Whatever.
All right, guys. Wow, we've been going for an hour already.
All right.
Let me run through the mid-roll real quick, and then we will come back and talk about maybe some other characters more closely. Yeah, this is the part where I remember that it's on YouTube, and that means like and subscribe and all that stuff. Do the YouTube things that you do. I would appreciate that very much. Thank you. Also, shout out to our Patreon High Council, consisting of our alpha patron, Ridiculous Ed Tollett, and also consisting of Lord John Bronsteen the Wise, as well as Sixto Sounds, aka JP the Axe Grinder. And they are supported by the lords and ladies of the realm, including Ryan Stavka, the Russian Quartermaster, Reflective Rambling, Arch-Maester Emma, and Kate, Mistress of the House of Books. Thank you, patrons, so much. We love you guys. Thanks for paying for, StreamYard, Zoom, all that stuff that people get to use. John uses it, Nessie uses it. We all use our Zoom link. So thank you very much, everybody who kicks in for that. It means that I don't have to pay for it, which is great. We have our Slack group. It's like we keep the party going all week. That's where we organize our D&D sessions. We have watch parties. We have a channel for memes. We have a channel where we share our Wordle scores every day.
Oh no.
Oh yes.
No, I'm avoiding that one.
You just mute that one. You just stay away.
Oh, I did. I didn't even join it.
But like Star Wars, Star Trek, Witcher, the conversation keeps going. It's also where we organize our Zoom meetings. So if you want to hang out on Zoom with us,
watch parties. That's
where all that stuff gets organized. And if you would like to join, just send me an email to we3dragons@gmail.com, just like it's written on the screen there. And as soon as I get that, I will send you an invite through Slack. It's rather like Discord. But you do have to send me an email because I do have to add you by email. Yes,
join us.
We have a channel called Meme Me, MEME-ME, or as I call it sometimes, Meme. But we do have a specific meme channel. And yes, there are lots of memes there. We have a specific Dungeons and Dragons channel. But yeah, so join that. Come hang out with us. Next week on Here Be Dragons, we will be talking about the latest Star Wars show that just finished, The Book of Boba Fett. It will be, John and Nessie will both be here for that one. I'm not sure which one of us needs backup, me or John, but we've talked about it for about 2 minutes and we have decided we are on opposite ends of the spectrum with that show.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, maybe not opposite ends of the spectrum, but
I was gonna say I haven't seen much discussion in the Star Wars channel in our Slack.
Well, we were on Zoom together.
Ah, okay.
And we talked about it, and we don't agree. We'll just say we don't agree. So tune in next week and watch me and my internet husband disagree vehemently about Star Wars.
I'll just sit on the fence and watch.
Yeah, that's fine. Do the thing. But yeah, and then the week after that, I mean, fingers crossed, we have a big get for I Know That Nerd coming. At least who I consider to be a big get. Somebody I've been trying for a couple of years to get as a guest. And you know, they committed. I asked them to be here this week. You know, it is what it is. They couldn't. I forgot it was the Superb Owl Party. Superb Owl. There's some sort of bowling tournament, I think. But yeah, so they said no. We've got Book of Boba Fett next week. So 2 weeks from now, just we'll say tune in. You will not be disappointed.
Oh my gosh, you're toying with us, Steven.
Well, I also don't want to say who it is, just in case because there are many legitimate reasons that it could fall through. This person has a very busy lifestyle. So, yeah. But children and profession and all of that stuff, you know, I'm going to check to make sure next week. But yeah, please, I'm looking forward to that one. Please be here if you can. You will not be... No, I wish. Actually, I don't wish. But yeah, kind of. I wish, but no.
I don't. I'd rather have this one.
Yeah, you know who it is, don't you, Kelly?
Yeah. Yes, I do.
Yeah. But I think I would too.
Yeah.
It's a friend, so yeah, it'd be good. Kelly, are you going to be anywhere soon? Like, are you going to pop up on like you don't have your own channel, your own content that you make, but you are a frequent guest other places. I know that you are a guest not only here, but also John will sometimes have you as a guest, as well as Dan from Voice of Geekdom has had you as a guest before.
Mm-hmm.
Are you showing up anywhere soon?
Yes. Speaking of that, I will actually be with Dan from Voice of Geekdom tomorrow night for his Monday night live streams. We're going to be talking about the upcoming Rings of Power Amazon TV show. The trailer is going to drop any moment. It could have already dropped because of some, like, I don't know, special episode of football happening right now. We're going to be talking about, you know, the posters, again, upcoming TV show, the trailer. Hopefully, I believe John Webster, Jaded is joining us. Dan's going to have actually a pretty full panel. So it's going to be popping off tomorrow. That's going to be tomorrow at 5:00 Eastern time zone on Voice of Geekdom channel.
Yep.
After that, now I'm just, you know, around for when someone wants to have a live stream or a discussion and they want to talk about something, and then I will get a text or a random message. Usually like the night before. Sometimes it's a few minutes before. But
look, I try to not do that to him.
I know, I understand, and this is going to be just a continuous joke that we're just going to run with. Poor John. He brought it on himself.
Yeah. That's just funny. Have a face for radio and a voice for texting. That's not true.
Oh my gosh.
But it's funny. And Emily, you occasionally help people make content, not making your own content right at the moment.
No, not at the moment. I've got some things that I can't talk about yet that are maybe coming up in the future.
Ooh.
But so no, basically.
Okay.
Again, like with the spoilers and all aspects.
I'm only here to look smug and not talk. Just kidding.
Carl, not you two. Come on.
Yeah, I keep telling Kelly she should start her channel called Ship for Brains.
Yeah.
That's a great channel name.
It is, really. I wish I could say it came up for myself, but like part of being smart is knowing when to steal something good and use it like it's
yeah. Yogi came up with a couple. That was the number one.
Yeah.
But we shall see. It'll probably, happen at the same time that I decide to DM a game.
Oh no. Don't get into two things at once. You'll regret it.
It's way too late for that.
All right. Well, I guess that's it for the mid-roll. I can't think of anything else I need to make sure I bring up. Yeah. So what say we just keep this thing moving forward then?
Dan's got a list of the guest list, the panel list, whatever you want to call it.
There you go.
It's extensive. Geeksteria.
Say again?
Geeksteria.
Yeah, Geeksteria. James Talbert from the Digital Tolkien Project. John will be on as well.
Bloody Wordle. Gosh.
Dude, it's just like word nerd games. Not a big deal.
Mm-hmm. It'll be off your Twitter feed eventually.
Yeah. This pass.
Right before we got into the mid-roll stuff, Bran mentioned that he was curious about what's going on with Vex and Keyleth, kind of moving fast there. Not sure if it's going to work out. So I want to talk about people's ships. I want to talk about definitely that one because it's. I mean,
you know what's funny? I told you earlier when I play D&D, Vax is the character that I play most often.
Mm-hmm.
I love rogues. I love the sneaky, a little finesse, a little, creative.
Dagger. Yep.
Yeah, I love that archetype. And Keyleth is the cute one to me, yes, so I get it. That's my ship in this. That's my OTP in this show.
All right. I thought the moment in the fight when Vax finally chose to confess his feelings was so hilarious. Actually, so Nessie's not here this week. I know she's not fully up on the show, but in a game we play together, her character did that to my character, like in a really traumatic situation, chose that moment to confess feelings. So I cracked up at Keyleth's reaction of like, right now? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
It's like the worst possible time.
It really was. I get it. I get where he was coming from, though. He thought they were going to die. It was looking real bad.
You now,
Yep.
That's a typical boy
Kelly
move.
McLaughlin from Dungeon Dudes plays a great rogue. I said at the top of the stream tonight, I do not watch live plays of D&D. It is not my bag. It is not my thing. I would rather be playing the game. And if I'm not doing that, I've got things I can do to prepare for one of the 3 games I'm running in the next 2 weeks. So again, a massive amount of respect for what these folks have done for the game, and not just Critical Role, but people like the Dungeon Dudes and WebDM. And there's so many channels out there making great content. XP to level 3 and play your role, and there's a lot of great channels out there making great D&D content, and I love them all for it. But the live play style, watching somebody else play D&D is not my thing.
Steven ain't got time for that.
I don't get to play.
Yeah, yep, I get that. As soon as I started like my 3rd group or something, I really cut down. I'm not current on Critical Role at all anymore, but so I'm glad this is out because I do have time for this.
Yeah. And the thing is, this is a beautiful way to sort of like get the best of it, to see the story that they're actually telling.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think Bran, you're wondering where are things going to go for Vax and Keyleth, and I think it's probably spoilery for me to weigh in on that. I think I don't know how much we're going to get more of that in the end of the season. We got 3 episodes left, and like things are like happening in Whitestone big time. So that could have been their only moment for a little while. You know. Yeah. Also very creepy that he chose the moment when they're kind of like under that tree with like, we haven't talked about how just brutal of a DM move that was.
Yeah.
You know, the hanging bodies who look just like Vox Machina, like that.
That was effed up. I was
That's
like,
epic, by the way.
whoa. Yeah.
I'm not capable of thinking of stuff that evil to throw at my players, I don't think.
I physically recoiled, you know, when that happened from the screen. I was like, no way. What a moment. Oh my gosh.
Like,
so twisted.
No, I applaud him. Like, that is some next level. Like, look, it's good storytelling if it makes you react so viscerally.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so many layers to that reveal, too. Oh, look how flippantly we will just kill people. Like, we don't care. We will just kill these people. Another level of it is, this is you. This is what we'll do to you if you don't stay away. Another level of it is, if this is not you and you see these people, you know you don't want to help them. It was really, really well delivered.
Yeah.
And the way that ends with that sort of hushed, it's us from Keyleth, and then you've got the credits roll with just the creaking ropes as they're swaying. I'm just like, oh, it chilled me.
Oh, yeah.
So
and they
good.
keep kind of coming back to them, and brutal. The Briarwoods, the end of the last episode, Delilah's like, no, we need to accelerate our plans. And I purposely didn't go refresh myself too much on what's coming for the rest of this arc so that I could be kind of surprised, but it's not going to be good, people. It's not going to be good.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, some breaking hearts for the little girl. Did we win a prize? No, you didn't.
No, harkens back to the moment with Vax, like really connecting with that little boy in the village that then gets destroyed. I mean, those are the moments that show that these characters are good too, despite the brutality that they're bringing about, despite the fact that Keyleth at the beginning wonders why they're even together and that they're such selfish assholes. Like they're unveiling that no, these people, for the most part, do have a heart, do have a conscience, and are in it for the right reasons. Except Grog, who's just in it for the booty.
Hands in the booty.
Jess over here talking about Jess plays a necromancer in one of my games. Yeah, let's talk about some of the voice actors for just a minute too, because it is Grey Delisle / Grey Griffin, who I tagged her the moment Lady Briarwood said anything. I'm like, that's Azula right there. But she is also, and I did not catch it because she's a professional voice actor, she is also Lady Dorolo in flashback scene where Percy and Cassandra are in class and Professor Anders is there and their parents come in. She does the voice of Lady Dorolo.
Yeah, and I think Tal does the voice. Taliesin Jaffe, who voices Percy, does the dad's voice too, which makes total sense. Like, she's doing an amazing job. It's fun to see Matt Mercer opposite her as the other big villain. I think, of some of the main NPCs that I can imagine Matt holding on to, like, Lord Briarwood is certainly at top of the list. So
I also love how he shows up and gets peed on or killed because a dragon or a giant slaps him on the head or gets grabbed by Grog and thrown across the room. Yeah.
I remember someone saying to me before the thing started, I'm just really worried about all these, it's going to be so weird for other people to be playing all these NPCs, and like, is Matt going to get a big enough role, because like he's really the star of all of this in a lot of ways. And I don't think, first of all, I don't think Matt Mercer worries about that at all. Like, he's very busy doing a lot of the writing, but it is nice to see him like kind of here and there. I've picked out his voice just as additional voices several times. But yeah, yes, Matt Mercer as Trinket is also excellent.
Yeah.
Oh, Trinket.
We love Trinket.
I love the guards who are set to watch Trinket, like falling in love with Trinket
Yes.
and getting caught cuddling them. All of the little background guard activity in this is golden. Like opening the door and they're playing Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, roll it. What do you say?
Houses of
Roll a
Humans.
hit, and I was like,
Yeah.
wait, what was that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh. You can tell that these, I mean, just the voice acting in general across the board is just so perfect because that's what they do. That's their sweet spot. You can hear some of the little mutterings in the background. Mwah.
Can I just say I was not gonna watch this until someone spoke the magic words. David Tennant.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
You guys saw in the Slack, discussion. I was like, hold on, time out. No one mentioned David Tennant. And I was like, okay, I'm watching now.
I'm in.
Yeah.
And you're glad you did, aren't you?
Yes. Absolutely.
I mean, he's only in the first couple episodes.
It's okay.
But
That's
he's
fine.
in there. We get
he
some,
had a pretty big role.
We get some Dominic Monaghan as well.
Mm-hmm. I loved, recognizing Rory McCann's voice.
Rory McCann's in there.
Yeah.
Indira Varma is amazing as Allura.
She gets to play the Daenerys character. At least she looks like Daenerys.
Allura is like probably one of the best, like just allies and like, DM spokespeople. You put those people in there. She's the Aurelius in a lot of ways, Stephen, of this world. Like she is, when the king's flipping out, like it's her who, reluctantly kind of comes to their side, and that relationship is going to grow well beyond season 1. And I love her for the role. She's so perfect. She really fits it well. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of great voice talent in here. My favorite voice actor not in it, but that's okay. Oh, Felicia Day gets a couple as well. Gets a couple of character voices that she gets to do.
Oh yeah, I remember seeing that. They did put out, I'll find a link for it later, but they did put out like a whole video like outlining like who's who alongside their art and like interviewing those characters. So if the voice acting is of particular interest to those of you in the chat, I'll find that link and post it.
Yeah, maybe I don't. Maybe y'all don't know this, but like Felicia Day is one of my like nerd girl crushes. Like I mean, and why not? She was kind of queen of the nerds back in the early rise of nerd culture.
Well, and she basically made Critical Role what it was because she gave them
her channel.
Place. Yep. And even though they've kind of parted ways at this point, like still very supportive of each other.
Professionally parted ways, but they're still good enough friends that they're like, hey, you want to come do some voices?
Exactly. I think they've pulled in a lot of people who have shown up in the live play game. I know like the head cleric who's working with Pike. She has played a guest character before. Trying to think of a few. There's several of them. I know like Ashley Birch is doing writing for the show, and she's guested on the show before as well. So there's some of that. I hope to see like Chris Perkins get a shot at it, just because he's another like famous DM I love, and his little one-note character was so great in the original game.
Yeah. Oh, Gina Torres was in there. That's who it is.
Yes.
As Keeper Yenin in Whitestone.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. There's a lot of really great really
Yeah.
great voice talent in this show.
Yeah, definitely check out that link I posted if you want to know more.
All right, I'm going to click it on my phone and then come back to this.
Yeah, that got me extremely hyped. And I mean, yeah, I think Kelly, out of all of the folks on the show, David Tennant was the one I was the most excited for. And since we're full spoilers now, like I loved that you, like I thought, oh, I think people who didn't know what was going to happen are like, oh, David Tennant, an ally or someone who's going to stick around for a long time, and like, no, absolutely not. But he's a fantastic villain. And I think it was so cool to see him like just take on this larger than life dragon character
and really get to lean into his native accent as well. Like that is a Scottish accent.
Oh yeah, he was definitely putting it on thick for sure.
If anyone's ever seen Ferdinand, like he's the Highland coo in Ferdinand, and it's like, yeah, that thick Scottish accent, it's like right on. When it comes to like, as far as his character, not being in it for much longer than 1 or 2 episodes, it was enough to get me emotionally invested, or at least get to know the characters and want to know a little bit more about them. So it was like, yeah, I'm gonna keep watching. Definitely.
Yeah. And you're glad you did, because it keeps getting, I think it just keeps getting better and better. So gosh, it's already been an hour and a half.
Yeah.
All right. So
there's a
Percy.
Sorry.
I got to talk about Percy. After that, I'll let y'all talk about whatever you want, but we got to get through some No Mercy Percy talk.
Okay. Do you want me to, can I real quick address the question to me in the chat though?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. So just real quick, there's a lot you can find out there if you look it up, but essentially the voice actor who played Tiberius, the Dragonborn sorcerer, for the first 20 or so 25 episodes or so of campaign 1 of Critical Role, parted with them in a pretty negative way. I know he was dealing with a lot of his own personal demons, and they cut him from the show, I think, because of intellectual property and not wanting to have someone else come in and voice for him. So you will see some Tiberius like in the comics that I mentioned, but this also takes place after enough episodes from campaign 1 that Tiberius had already made his exit. So
yeah.
Okay. Now I want to talk about Percy. I absolutely want to talk about Percy.
Great. And then after that, we'll talk about whatever you want. But yeah.
No Mercy Percy.
Yeah, No Mercy Percy. Like such a, like you could have, because the dark, broody, edgelord type character is almost a trope at this point. But it's so great how the way he's portrayed, he is not just like, oh, I'm so gloomy. No, this dude is going to shoot your freaking hand off. He is brutal. He is a man with a mission, and he's haunted by his past. Like he doesn't scribble dark lyrics in his journal. No, he's out there hunting down the murderers of his family. And
he's also not doing it for like, oh, and then I'll get my castle back or anything.
Right.
It's very much more personal than that.
Yeah, there's even like when he's talking about the barrels on his gun, and somebody's Scanlan's like, that's fine, who's the 6th one for? If you look at his shadow, the way the light is casting his shadow, and the way he's standing in that moment, the gun is literally pointing at himself. The shadow is pointing the gun at him. When he is asked, who's the 6th barrel for? And I'm like, yeah, that's some really good visual storytelling too. And just the way they change the voice, the mask, so that it dehumanizes him in the moment. The way his own friends are like, we don't recognize you as Percy when you're doing that. It's like you become a different person. Like, wow, just.
Yeah, and I thought it was a nice build. It's like after the first fight at the fountain, like when that kind of breaks up, the first thing he does is scream at his friends for screwing it up for him. Dude, you were getting rocked.
Yeah,
you were not
you're
winning that fight.
You were going bad. You were totally
But
gonna die.
it's such a great like kind of intro into what this means to Percy, that
Mhm.
he would, you know, flip that switch, and then it just kind of escalates. And the next time you see the mask come out, is when he, you know, pulls the gun on Vax, and you know, it's like, I'm, you know, nervous about where this is heading, and I kind of know, like,
Right.
When I think up to that point, I guess Percy's character was kind of, as Steven said, kind of tropish, I guess. But when the smoke showed up, and you
Mhm.
know, the eyes changed, and he pulls out the mask, I sat up and I was like, I'm paying attention now. What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, like those first couple of episodes, you don't get any of that.
Nope.
Mm-mm.
Like, you do not understand what No Mercy Percy is.
No, in the first couple of episodes, you get like what Taldore is. You get a bit about Vex and Vax, and like her dragon background. You think this entire season is going to be about dragon fights, and then that's a bait and switch, and ta-da, here comes Percy.
Right.
Which is kind of how it happened. The dragon fight is actually pre when they started recording, and so they kind of butted that together with like this, which is considered like arc 2 of campaign 1, and cut arc 1 out. Keyless kill of someone like kind of like falling into the lava and like slowly slipping away, like that's some of that cut campaign 1 arc 1 stuff coming through.
You're right, Potter. He is like Batman. They even had a Derolo signal.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I want to, you know, I wonder if they're going to explain how the hair turns white so young, you know, because his sister's got it kind of half going.
Yeah. Just stress, man. Just stress. Yeah, I agree, Kate, and you're right. Like, I had heard that a lot of what they're talking about in those kill flashbacks, your craziest kill, was stuff from either pre-stream or the previous arc that those characters had actually done.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm never going to get over Keyleth going, shh, 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 go to sleep, go to sleep. I'm just like, dude, that's dark in and of itself. And everybody who's sitting around the campfire is like,
yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Oh yeah, that was a great scene of kind of sharing stories. Percy though, bringing it back down, or as Grog would say, buzzkill.
Yeah.
That's such a great moment though. I think, you know, when you're traveling with your party, you know, so you're trying to keep it light even when someone is facing intense personal demons over on the side.
Yeah, it's funny.
It's nice to see him check some names off. What'd you guys think of him basically giving the Duke Vedmeyer like over to the town to take care of?
I love it because, okay, there's a couple of things going on here. When he pulls out that mask and the smoke shows up and he's crossing a name off of his list, like there is something metaphysical happening in that moment. Duke Vedmeyer wasn't on his list. So, like, his soul is not forfeit, so to speak. Or at least that's how I'm reading it, you know? Yeah, exactly. You weren't on my list, Vedmeyer. But, like, it was okay, so the townsfolk are going to kill him and string him up, but at least, you know, his soul isn't being sent to the Whispered One.
Right.
Again, guesswork. What about you, Kelly? What do you think?
I'm just along for the ride. I'm not making assumptions. I'm just, you know, I've got some ideas along the lines of the multi-class warlock, but I'm just along for the ride.
Okay.
All right.
But what do you think about Vedmeyer? Like specifically them handing over Vedmeyer?
Oh yeah. I think that was a brilliant move. And when he was talking to his sister about not being the heir, or that's not what this is about. You know, it's as far as like the good of the town and that being like a priority. I liked that moment.
Yeah. I think it's not a choice that every character would make. Like, I think that, like, for someone like Vexalia or Grog, they would not hold back. They would have just taken their shot, you know? And, yeah. Very interesting to see that. I feel like the only person who really, gets through to Percy very often are the twins. You know, it seems like they're the only ones who have much dialogue with him. Keyleth did have that nice scene, but it was mostly her talking at him and him kind of absorbing a little bit of that. But
I was not expecting Keyleth to actually heal his sister. I was just like, oh no. Like, and when when her throat was cut, I was just like, what? No, please don't do that.
mm-hmm.
And but yeah, I was not expecting Keyleth to pull off that move.
Yeah. Yep. They, like, even I had a moment. I know Cassandra lived. I knew it. So when her head flopped to the side in that like the sound effects in that scene, I was like, oh yeah, God, like,
it got real quiet.
Did they change this? Like, oh no, like they had me. They had me. So yeah. I'm glad though, because I don't see Percy reacting to Keyleth not being able to save Cassandra super well.
Yeah, I was like,
he's already turned his gun on friends before.
Yeah.
Also, in general, I hate guns in D&D and I don't really allow it in my game, but I love Percy anyway, and I love the story they're telling with him, of him kind of bringing them into the world and it being not something that everyone can just go buy at a store. That's something that he built and worked for. And like, he pulls that big shotgun out and takes a shot and then it explodes and backfires on him. And he's like, well, back into the bag for now. Like, that's very much true to the way that they let that roll in the game.
Yeah, I don't do guns in my campaigns either. They just don't exist, you know?
Right. We live in America. We've got enough guns.
Yeah. I live in Texas. Like, you got an extra layer, you know? Our guns, some of our guns have guns on them.
I'm going to mount a gun on my gun.
Yeah. But the way it's presented, sort of like somebody said hex, like he's a hexblade warlock, but he's like a hex gun warlock.
Yeah.
Which is great because it's a 6-shooter as well. So hex gun works on many levels.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like the idea that, oh, I'm going to give you this secret knowledge so you can seek revenge for your family. It's so great. It's so great. Oh, I couldn't agree more, Emily. I don't put guns in my D&D campaign, but like that one works.
If someone came to me with this concept, I'd be like, all right, greenlit. Like, I don't normally do Warforged either, but my husband came up with a great concept, and it was very much kind of you're one of the first ones, and where, you know, like it's not something that you can just kind of hand wave. Like, I feel like people do. So, oh, Potter.
Kate.
That's our Potter.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah.
It's like I played a Warforged. I generally don't think they don't really fit the vibe of my game world either. But like the one I played literally had a holy relic inside it that was powering it. So I played it more like a golem.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I was about to say, didn't you make one for Trish?
Yeah. Yeah, but like I don't like the idea of like there's a bunch of Warforged around. I like the idea of a wizard built me as an experiment.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So did I think it was really quick, and I might have only been halfway paying attention, but there was a name along the barrel, or along the barrel, and then it fades after they're killed. Okay.
And yeah. The way that the last episode ended, episode 9 ended, we're about to meet another one of those people with those names.
Yeah, like Kelly, you said you missed the last few minutes.
I had to, I had to
like, it is
wrap
what
it
it
up
is.
and get ready for this. Yeah. And
But
then I gotta
just say, like, No Mercy Person comes out one more time right at the end of that episode.
Yep.
Because,
okay. I do plan on going back and watching, of course, the entire season again, but especially the last 3 episodes because I did watch them kind of hastily.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, because I don't want to say anything too spoilery. What I will say is that one thing that this show is nailing is like the Matt Mercer cliffhanger. Like he's so good
And
as a
that's
DM in
brilliant.
wrapping things up, and like every single episode, I'm like, it can't be over now. Like
4 hours
crazy
later
just happened, you know. Like you know, the show is doing that really well. Like they've, you know, I think episode 1 was the dragon. Episode 2 is when you see the Briarwoods for the first time. There's one of the episodes is when you know, his sister's bleeding out at the throat. Like so many moments like that. And I love a show that'll do a good cliffhanger.
Yeah, they have, like, I agree. This is just so good, top to bottom, left to right, front to back. I think some of the animation could use a little polish in spots, but it still looks really good. It still works.
I think it's great for what it does.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not bad animation at all. I'm just saying, I think it probably could be touched up here and there. But that's me splitting hairs because I'm trying to find something to criticize.
I think I was trying really hard to think of like what I would criticize. I think there's not much. I thought maybe, like, to me the voice of the Everlight didn't sound like deific enough. It wasn't like as maybe they just need to put some more effects on it or something, because it just sounded like a human voice with an echoer on it or so, you know. Not a criticism on the voice actress at all, but just you know, I think a godly voice, you know, shouldn't sound too human. But yeah. Oh, maybe the turd was unnecessary for me.
Yes. Maybe the turd.
But a lot of people, I'm sure, thought that was like the best part of that episode. So, you know.
Somebody did. Not me. Scatological humor doesn't do it for me, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I thought like already having him on the toilet was enough. Didn't need to see it.
Right, that's funny. Toilet humor, okay. But like when you get down to actually like
literal poop.
There's a lot of poop jokes in campaign 1 though, so we might not be done with that. But yeah, I sometimes worried, like, you know, Scanlan was probably one of my least favorite characters of the campaign. I sometimes don't like the comedic relief characters as much, but oh my god, he's nailing it. I love how they really let Sam just go wild, I feel like, with the music, and I love how improvisational like most of those songs still feel. Like they don't feel overproduced. They feel very in the moment, even though we know they're not, and I love it for that. So
that was going to be my criticism. I want more music. I want more Scanlan music.
I think there will be more.
At least one more good one before the end.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a bard. We're gonna get more and more, and yeah. I think now that, like, I'm sure that after campaign 1, like, seeing how popular his music is, they're gonna lean into that more in campaign 2. I was surprised they didn't have more episodes end with Scanlan songs like they did with. Yeah. You need to finish what you haven't finished yet, because there's a whole song about Pike Trickfoot if you haven't heard it yet.
Yeah.
I can't remember if it's at the end of 8 or 9, so you've heard it.
I think it's at the end of 9.
So yeah, you have that coming for you, Kelly.
Okay.
You got Scanlan. You got Scanlan. Or like, I just like how in conversation he'll occasionally like belt out that, you know, power metal scream. Lots and lots of money. I can't do it.
No, you nailed it.
Yeah, it's great.
My voice, like, okay, I can do it an octave lower than he can.
Oh, Sam Riegel is a treasure. Like he probably creates some of the craziest and most interesting characters out there, even if they're the ones that I don't always connect with the most. He gives even the most ridiculous characters heart, and I love that.
Like that's another thing that really makes this feel like D&D is that when you come to a table or Zoom call or whatever to play D&D, everybody that shows up is showing up with a different reason for being there. Some people want to play Scanlan, where they get to make jokes and fart around and be funny and do that type of thing, be ridiculous. Some people want to show up and be the badass, like Vex and Vax. Some people just want to play the big, want to pretend to be the big dumb idiot and hit things. You got your grogs there. But ultimately, the game is best when you have a little bit of all of it and you can find your enjoyment in a little bit of all of it. But this really feels like a D&D game because you have that diversity of viewpoints expressed through all these different characters.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's kind of like a continuum of silliness in every D&D party, and this one has got a pretty wide delta between your Grogs and your Scanlans and your, Vexalia, who needs to chill out a little bit, probably. And they still kind of all find a way to have their moment. At the table, I think they're all really good at kind of sitting back and enjoying the other person performing or playing too, and that's what makes it feel so balanced.
Jolie, that's like the 12th time you've written his whole name in the chat. Like, is there something you need to know? Is something you need to tell us? And like,
what did we forget about him? We talked about bad news.
Yeah. I like that. Yeah. What is that? Nothing but bad news.
You'll see some more of Trinket. So this is kind of fun. Like Trinket getting left behind is also like classic D&D. People who play Rangers because they want to have a big giant pet follow them around. In previous editions of D&D, that worked okay, but in this one, it's like they don't really level up your critter the way that you level up. So, eventually Vexalia is going to have like 150 hit points, and her bear is still going to have like 20. And it doesn't matter that he has armor and that he's a bear. They're going to be like demigod level, and bringing that bear with them places is dangerous. So Trinket does travel with them, but I don't know how much we'll see him in action in the show. He's not in Whitestone with them. We know that. So.
Yeah, I mean, I love Trinket, but I'm with you on that whole Ranger thing too. Like, Rangers are kind of an underpowered class in 5e unless you're playing a Gloomstalker.
Well, yep, exactly. And I think like that's probably like, so this game cut over from an edition that was much kinder to Rangers, that where Trinket would have had a much better time. So I think that's part of why he exists and why she made that character choice. But I think also Trinket is there to show that Vex has feelings and can connect with something besides just like, her brother and her sad emo backstory. Like, for now, might be more friendships or things.
Okay, all right, hold on. We're gonna try. I'm gonna try at least. Frederickstein von Mussel-Klaskowski to Dorolo III.
Percival Frederickstein von Mussel-Kalowski to Rollo III. Go ahead, Kelly.
Percy.
No Mercy Percy.
No Mercy Percy.
Yeah.
I made the joke before the stream started that I feel like most of Whitestone was just like, yep, it's Percy when he says his full name, because no one else can let it roll off the tongue without stumbling on it except for the person whose name that probably is. So that was probably a good way for him to quickly win the rest of Whitestone's resistance over to his side.
Yeah. You're welcome, my friend. You are welcome. I tried. I probably got kind of close, but yeah. So we have 3 episodes left that are coming out next Friday. Emily, I'm like, I'll ask you last, and you can try to give as vague an answer as possible. But Kelly, what do you think? Do you have any predictions? Any hopes for what we're going to see next week?
No.
You don't have
Again.
any hopes or predictions.
I'm just along for the
You've
ride.
been a great guest. Thanks, Kelly.
I'm just along for the ride. I don't, as far as like, I'm not good with like, trying to predict what's going to happen next. I've never been good at that. And again, I didn't see the season, so I'm just looking forward to seeing the characters play off of each other. Their dynamic is really great.
Yep.
As far as like those moments at the table, I'm sure there's, really, really great moments that, I missed by not catching the, the episodes of Critical Role. But I'm still looking forward to, whatever, horrible jokes and things that are in the TV show. I'm hoping for another raunchy Scanlan song. How about that?
There you go. That's
all right.
what I want to be here.
Okay.
I feel like I have a non-spoilery answer, but I still want to go after you.
Okay. I'm looking forward to... All right. My prediction is that one of, but not both of, the Briarwoods will meet their end in this season. And the other one will not, but will escape and be on a vengeance. I'm not ready to pick one over the other. But yeah, I think one of the Briarwoods is going down, but I don't think Percy gets every name off his gun this season. Could be wrong.
Okay. I'm not going to predict anything about the Briarwoods specifically, but I will predict that more is going to happen with the Sun Tree. Keyleth has been spending episodes trying to interact with it, trying to heal it, and I feel like they are going to pay that off before the end of the season, for sure.
Good call.
I so cannot wait for you guys to hear the voice of the Sun Tree eventually this season, next season. It's truly one of the greatest things of campaign 1.
Oh my gosh. I am hyped for this. I love trees. I'm a big pro.
Druids can talk to trees, so I'm really hoping that they include that. I think
I might just go look up a clip of it on YouTube.
I also think we're gonna get like one romance moment this season. One more. I don't think we're done with that. I think that probably won't be left hanging there. I think.
But is it going to be Keyleth and Vax, or is it going to be Pike and Scanlan, or maybe it's just...
I know Grog and Vex. They seem unlikely, but
no, I was going to say Percy and Vex. Like there could be.
Okay. He's preoccupied right now for romance.
He is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah. Okay. All right. Good predictions.
Anything?
Do you think that who do you think will be in control of Whitestone? Like by the end
Cassandra.
Cassandra?
Yeah, that's my...
Yep. I also think that we will.
Agrees.
I think that we will go back to Iman, and I think we will see Sovereign Uriel and Allura again, and I think like that will be probably like the wrap up of this season is them going back and reporting what was up with the Briarwoods and hopefully clearing their name.
But I also predict a slightly cliffhangery ending, just enough to set up the season 2 story.
Mm-hmm. I will go back and Scanlan had seen a table with a map. Mm-hmm. And it seemed like moves were being made, and he's like, all right, what's going on here? I kind of want to go back and look at that. A little bit of the wider world. Sorry, I was deleting something.
Yeah, you beat me to it just by that much.
Okay.
I think we'll see the wider world. I think there's a reason dragons were in the beginning of this. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, like it's called Dungeons and Dragons.
Yes.
We've only had one dragon. What about second dragon?
Yeah.
What about dragons?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, my last thing I want to mention is like I play a lot of D&D. I'm as both dungeon master and player, and watching this made me realize sometimes how I will lose focus on role playing with the rest of my party. You know, I'm interacting with the DM, with the dungeon master more than I'm interacting with the other players at the table sometimes, and it's a really good reminder that that's what made this show great, was the relationships between the people. It's helpful if you have some of that pre-baked into your character backstory, like Grog and Pike have an old friendship, and Vex and Vax are brother sister. We have a brother sister pair playing in our game, Emily, and it's great to watch them play off each other. And yeah, anyway, if you're playing D&D out there, you should be doing the same thing. Don't forget to not, you are not 4 individual main characters, each in your own story that happens to overlap. No, you're a group that should have group dynamics and relationships within that group.
Exactly. You're not a robot marching from combat to combat. You are a group of people who allegedly care enough about each other to spend time together continually. So they talk to each other. It doesn't like Critical Role does do a fair amount of romance stuff, but it doesn't have to be that. It could just be friendship. It could, I'm in the game Stephen was just mentioning, and I'm not one of the siblings in game, but I've formed a kind of found family thing with the other orphan in my party. So we actually, our problem is that we don't shut up enough to let Stephen the DM do anything, but that's rare.
Yeah, like there's a whole different set of challenges with that crew. Just for the record, I did have to figure out how to dungeon master a swimming pool chicken fight in one session.
Hey, since we're on the stream, I'm gonna go ahead and say my character won. Refute me in the chat if you want.
I don't think I believe your character was sitting on Sanrixian's character's shoulders,
slap fighting her brother, who was
sitting on ridiculous Ed Tollett, aka Sean's shoulders. And
my strength score of 8 against Merrick's strength score of 6 was going really well up top.
Yeah, I had to make a series of athletics and acrobatics checks, and it was fun. Anyway,
that kind of stuff happens in the Legends of Vox Machina too. One of their most famous episodes is them having a cannonball contest. So
nice.
Yeah.
But anyway, y'all, we're like right here at the 2-hour mark. Is there anything else you want to make sure you say before we call it for the evening?
I'll say what Matt Mercer would say, which is don't forget to love each other.
That's good, Matt. I'm here for that. Don't forget to love each other. I believe that was, yeah.
It was just that.
And right here in tiny little print, it says, "Fuck you, Vax." And then they got this thing going on.
Yeah, it's just over the table. I love it.
Roll initiative. And that's where we'll call it.
Yeah.
My gosh, what is up with you bots? We're going to keep hiding you every single time. Get the hell out of here.
Man, yeah.
Show up if you want. Drop your crappy porn link. I'm just going to delete you forever. I'm sorry. It's but like 5 or 6 today.
Yeah.
What is up with that? Anyway, is it Thursday yet? Is it Wednesday yet?
Right.
Oh God.
That's when we play. Is on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I play Monday night and Thursday night.
Yeah, I play
regularly. And then those other 2 are just kind of like when we can get together.
Hot tip for people, because I don't think everybody knows this. Critical Role comes out Fridays, but it's midnight in the UK. So it comes out at 7 p.m. Eastern on Thursday for those of us in the US, if you didn't know that. So you're not as far away as you think.
Yeah. So yeah, Friday, the last 3 episodes will be coming out. We'll get the finale. And until then, yeah, like you say, don't forget to love each other. Kelly, any final thoughts? No?
Not on the show.
Okay.
Just like and subscribe to Here Be Dragons, and also tune in to Voice of Geekdom tomorrow night.
Yeah, Voice of Geekdom tomorrow night. Kelly will be on as a guest. You'll be discussing this trailer where the 3 of us are probably about to go watch right now.
Yep. Not that we don't love you all.
Nope.
Oh, you don't care about Lord of the Rings?
I'm here for it. No.
Yeah.
I was saying it's not that we don't love you. It's that we also love Lord of the Rings. So
yeah,
bye.
we all gotta go watch this trailer. All right, guys. Thanks for coming. Everybody who was here live, you made this awesome. The chat was really popping off today.
Mm-hmm.
I had a fantastic time. But yeah, come back next week. We'll be talking about the Book of Boba Fett. And until then, you know what it is, everyone. Peace and be excellent to each other.